The gravel crunched under Eli's boots like bones snapping in the dead of night, each step echoing the fracture he'd carried in his chest for 12 years. He gripped his son's small hand tighter, the boy's wide eyes reflecting the porch light of the old farmhouse like twin beacons in a storm. Innocent, unscarred, everything Eli had fought to become. "Daddy, why's that man yelling?" Little Noah whispered, pointing at the silhouette bursting through the screen door, face twisted in a rage that time hadn't softened one goddamn bit. Eli's father, Harlan Whitaker, froze mid-stride, his calloused fists clenched as if ready to swing at ghosts. "Elijah, boy, you got some nerve showing your face here after what you did to this family." The words landed like buckshot, but Eli didn't flinch, not anymore. He'd come back to Willow Creek, Nebraska, not to beg, but to bury the lie they'd all lived, with Noah as his living proof that love didn't break. It rebuilt. The air hung heavy with the scent of rain-soaked earth and diesel from the old John Deere rusting in the yard. A relic of harvests past that Eli remembered harvesting alongside his brother under their father's unyielding gaze. Willow Creek hadn't changed much since he'd fled at 18. A scared kid with a backpack and a heart full of secrets spilled too soon. The farmhouse loomed like a sentinel, its white clapboard peeling under the relentless prairie wind. Windows glowing faintly from the kitchen where his mother, Ruth, no doubt stirred a pot of chili for the church potluck. But Eli wasn't here for nostalgia. He was here because the letter from the family lawyer had arrived like a grenade in his Chicago mailbox. Harlan was dying, pancreatic cancer gnawing at him from the inside, and the farm, the legacy, the whole damn Whitaker name was up for grabs. And his brother, Caleb, the golden son who'd stayed and towed the line, had apparently decided Eli's queerness made him dead to inheritance rights. Noah tugged at Eli's jeans, his Spider-Man sneakers kicking up dust. "Is he mad at us, Daddy? Like the kids at school who wouldn't share the swings?" Eli knelt, brushing a curl from the boy's forehead, his thumb lingering on the soft skin that still smelled like baby shampoo despite the long drive from the city. "Nah, buddy. He's just surprised. Like when you found that frog in the bathtub and hollered so loud the neighbors came running." Noah giggled, the sound a lifeline pulling Eli back from the abyss. This kid, adopted 3 years ago from a Chicago foster system that had chewed up better men than Eli, was his anchor, the reason he'd clawed his way from busboy to barista to graphic designer, building a life brick by fragile brick. Harlan's bellow cut through the moment like a scythe. "Get off my land, Elijah. You think waltzin' back with some stray change is nothin'? We washed our hands of your perversion years ago." The word perversion hit Eli like it always had, a venom that seeped into his veins, but he rose slowly, shielding Noah with his body. 12 years. 12 years of therapy sessions in dimly lit clinics, of grinder hookups that left him hollow, of that one-night stand in a Milwaukee motel that bloomed into something real with Marcus, a quiet black artist with hands that painted worlds and a laugh that chased shadows away. Marcus, who'd held him through the nightmares of Harlan's fists and Ruth's silent tears, who'd whispered "you're enough" on the night they signed Noah's papers. Marcus, who'd died 2 winters ago in a freak car accident on an icy I-90, leaving Eli a widower at 29, raising their boy alone in a one-bedroom walk-up with walls papered in rejection letters and hope. Eli's voice came steady, honed by boardroom pitches and playground negotiations. "I'm not here to fight, Dad. The lawyer said you wanted to see me. Sign whatever papers say I'm out, fine. But Noah here's family too, whether you like it or not." Harlan's eyes, faded blue like Eli's own, flickered to the boy, then away, as if looking too long might burn. Ruth appeared in the doorway then, her apron dusted with flour, gray streaks threading her once auburn hair. She clutched the doorframe, her mouth opening and closing like a landed fish. "Elijah? Oh Lord, is that?" Her gaze locked on Noah, softening in a way that twisted Eli's gut. She'd loved him once, before the church elders and Harlan's Bible-thumping rants turned her heart to stone. "Come inside," she murmured finally, voice cracking like dry creek bed. "It's cold out." Harlan snorted but didn't protest, shuffling back with the labored gait of a man who'd lost 20 pounds to the disease. Eli hesitated, the threshold a chasm he'd crossed in dreams 1,000 times, always waking in sweat. But for Noah, who'd asked every night since Marcus left, "When do we meet Grandpa's farm with the cows?" He'd step into hell itself. The kitchen was a time capsule. Formica counters scarred from decades of family suppers. A crucifix nailed above the sink glaring judgment. Caleb lounged at the table, broad-shouldered and sunburnt, nursing a Budweiser like it was holy water. He was 32 now, married to Jenny with 2 kids of their own, the heir apparent who'd expanded the farm into organic corn and agritourism weekends for city folk. "Well, look what the cat dragged in," Caleb drawled, his smirk a carbon copy of Harlan's. "Heard you were some kind of city fairy now. What's the kid? Yours or a rental?" Noah shrank against Eli's leg, but Eli's hand on his shoulder steadied them both. "He's mine, Caleb. Legally, morally, pick your poison. And I'm no fairy. I'm just a dad trying to give his boy roots." The word roots hung there, laced with the irony of a man uprooted like crabgrass from his own soil. Ruth bustled, setting bowls of chili on the table, her eyes darting between them like a referee in a cage match. Harlan sank into his chair, wheezing, the oxygen tank hissing softly beside him, a mechanical serpent underscoring his mortality. Dinner was a minefield. Noah poked at his food, whispering questions about the noisy machine that made Grandpa cough, earning a rare half-smile from Ruth. Eli fielded barbs with deflections. Yes, Chicago was loud. No, he didn't miss the twisters, and when Caleb prodded about that lifestyle, Eli met his eyes coolly. "Love's love, brother. You oughta try it sometime without the hypocrisy." The table fell silent, spoons clinking like accusations. Harlan slammed his fist down, rattling the salt shaker. "You destroyed us, boy. Comin' out at your sister's wedding, making a spectacle. Folks still whisper about the Whitakers, like we're trash." Eli's sister, Lila, gone 5 years now to a drunk driver on Highway 20, had been the family's glue, her laughter the balm for Harlan's tempers. Eli had chosen that reception, under the string lights of the VFW hall, to come out, thinking truth would set them free. Instead, it chained them in resentment. "I was 18, Dad, scared shitless, but I owned it. You pretended I was dead." The words escaped before he could cage them, raw as the wound that never scarred. Ruth's sob broke the dam. "We were wrong, Elijah. The church, your father, it twisted us." Harlan's face crumpled, not in apology, but defeat. As Noah yawned, curling into Eli's side, the boy murmured, "Daddy, tell him about the rainbow we saw on the way here. It touched the ground. Innocence as indictment." Eli nodded, voice soft. "Yeah, buddy. Rainbows always do, if you look close enough." That night, Eli bunked in the guest room. His old room, stripped of posters and pride flags he'd never hung. Noah conked out on the twin bed, clutching his stuffed T-Rex, while Eli lay awake, staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin. Marcus's voice echoed in his head. "Go back, Eli. Not for them, for you. Show 'em the man you became without their chains." But doubt gnawed. What if they never saw? What if Noah got caught in the crossfire? Morning brought uneasy truce. Ruth took Noah to the barn, showing him chickens that clucked like conspirators, while Eli faced Harlan on the porch. The old man lit a cigarette with trembling hands, defying doctor's orders. "The farm's Caleb's," he rasped. "But I wrote you in for a share. 10 acres by the creek. Figured. Blood's blood." Eli's throat tightened. A crumb, but from a man who'd called him abomination. "Why now?" Harlan exhaled smoke like regret. "Cancer makes a man reckon. And that boy, he looks at you like you're God." Eli turned away, eyes stinging at the horizon where cornstalks whispered secrets to the wind. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. But it was a crack in the wall, sunlight slipping through. Yet as Caleb cornered him later by the tractor shed, arms crossed like a blockade, Eli sensed the storm brewing. "Don't get ideas, Eli. Dad's softenin', 'cause he's dyin'. But me, I run this place. You and your little family, your guests. Temporary." The warning slithered, laced with something darker. Jealousy? Fear? Eli nodded. But inside, resolve hardened like frost on the fields. He'd return to Chicago soon, but not before planting seeds they couldn't uproot. Days blurred into a fragile rhythm. Noah chasing fireflies at dusk, Ruth baking pies with stories of Lila's wild youth, Harlan's gruff tales of Nom over checkers. Eli sketched designs for a community garden on those 10 acres, dreaming of sunflowers nodding to passers-by on Route 34. A testament to growth amid thorns. Romance flickered in stolen moments. A brush of hands with the neighbor vet, Tom, whose easy grin and flannel shirts stirred embers Eli thought cold. But it was Noah's joy that fueled him, the boy's laughter echoing across acres that once silenced his own. Then, the betrayal struck like lightning over flatlands. Caleb, rifling through Eli's duffel for borrowed tools, found the adoption papers, and Marcus's obituary clipping, tucked like a talisman. By supper, whispers had fermented into venom. "You lied," Caleb accused, waving the papers like a flag of surrender. "That kid ain't even blood, some orphan from the streets, and your partner? A dead man who turned you into this." Harlan's face drained, Ruth gasped, and Noah froze, spoon midway to his mouth. Eli's world tilted. "You went through my things?" Christ, Caleb. But the damage bloomed, ugly and unchecked. Harlan wheezed. "I gave you land for a Whitaker heir, not this charity case." The word charity eviscerated, reducing Noah to pity, Marcus to footnote. Eli scooped his son up, storming out into the night, gravel biting his heels anew. Under the stars, vast as uncharted grief, Noah whimpered, "Did I do bad, Daddy?" Eli held him fierce, tears carving tracks. "No, love. You did the bravest thing. Loved without a skin permission." They drove to the motel in town, neon vacancy, buzzing like a heartbeat. Eli called Tom, voice breaking over the line. "Need a friend. It's all unravelin'." Tom arrived with coffee and quiet strength, his hand on Eli's knee a spark in the dark. But dawn brought resolve. Eli would fight. Not with fists, but truth. The lawyer's office at 10. Papers to contest the will's fine print Caleb had manipulated, ensuring Eli's share vanished unless he proved family values. Betrayal's sting sharpened Eli's edge. This wasn't just land. It was vindication. For the boy he'd been, the love he'd lost, the father he'd become. The county courthouse in Beatrice squatted like a brick fortress under overcast skies, its halls echoing with the shuffle of farmers in flannel and clerks in sensible heels. Eli adjusted Noah's backpack, stuffed with crayons and a half-eaten granola bar. As they climbed the steps, Tom's pickup idling at the curb like a getaway car. "You sure about this?" Tom asked, his hazel eyes steady, calloused fingers brushing Eli's in a gesture that spoke volumes without words. Eli nodded, the touch lingering like a promise. "Gotta try. For him." He ruffled Noah's hair, the boy oblivious to the war, chattering about big buildings like in Chicago cartoons. Inside, the lawyer, Mr. Hargrove, a wiry man with spectacles perched like binoculars, flipped through folders with the detachment of a man who'd seen dynasties crumble over fence lines. "Mr. Whitaker, the will's clear. Harlan intended the 10 acres as a gesture, but Caleb's addendum, filed last month, ties it to traditional family contributions. Your brother's claimin' sole executorship, sit in your absence." Hargrove's pause was polite poison, the ellipsis loaded with small-town gospel. Eli leaned forward, voice low thunder. "Absence? I was run off at 18 for lovin' wrong. That's not absence. That's exile. And Noah? He's more Whitaker than Caleb's greed." Hargrove cleared his throat, glancing at Noah doodling a cowboy on legal pad scraps. "Contestant means probate, hearings could drag months. Harlan's lucid. His testimony might sway it." Eli's jaw set. Confront Harlan again? The man who'd prayed over him like an exorcism, who'd burned his coming-out letter in the barrel by the barn. Yet the image of Noah swinging from a tire on those creekside oaks, free under open sky, burned brighter. Set the meetin'. Today. Back at the farm, the air crackled with unspoken indictments. Ruth met them at the door, eyes red-rimmed, pressing a Tupperware of oatmeal cookies into Noah's hands. "He don't mean it, Elijah." Caleb's scared. "Losin' the farm'd break him like it did your pa after Lila." Eli softened at her touch, the maternal warmth a ghost of Christmases past. "Then tell him to stop fightin' shadows, Ma. I'm not the enemy." She nodded, whispering, "Stay for lunch? Noah loves my mac and cheese." Harlan was in the den, propped in his recliner amid stacks of seed catalogs and faded photos. Lila's wedding portrait prominent, her smile a beacon Eli clung to. The old man looked smaller, swallowed by the chair, his breath a rattle. "Heard you lawyered up," he grunted as Eli entered, Noah trailing like a shadow pup. "Caleb says you're stealin' what's his." Eli knelt by the chair, eye level with the man who'd once loomed like God. "Not stealin', Dad. Claimin'. You offered those acres. Don't let him poison it now." Harlan's gaze drifted to Noah, who perched on the rug, sorting Lincoln logs into a lopsided barn. "Kid's got your eyes. And something else. Fire." A cough racked him, but when it passed, his voice held a rare gravelly warmth. "Tell me about the other one. The daddy." Eli's breath hitched. Marcus, unspoken in this house of heteronormative ghosts. His name was Marcus, artist, taught Noah to mix paints like emotions. Red for mad, blue for sad, gold for us. Harlan's fingers twitched toward a photo on the side table. Young Eli and Caleb, arms slung, grinning post-football game. "I failed you, son. Thought bein' hard made men strong. But seein' you with that boy, reckon strength's in holdin' on." The admission cracked Eli open, tears pricking unbidden. For a heartbeat, the room held only the tick of the mantel clock and Noah's humming. A lullaby Marcus sang. But Caleb burst in then, Jenny trailing with their toddlers in tow, faces pinched. "What the hell, Dad? You talkin' to him like he's kin." The dam burst. Accusations flew like hay bales in a gale. Caleb railed about family values, how Eli's choices had shamed them at Lila's funeral, how the church deacons still crossed the street. Jenny chimed in, voice shrill. "We got mouths to feed, real Whitakers." Noah's lip quivered, logs scattering. "I'm real." Eli scooped him up, heart fracturing. "Damn right you are." To Caleb, "This ends now. Meet me in the lawyer's office tomorrow, sign fair shares, or we drag it to court. Your call." He stormed out, Noah buried in his neck, the screen door slamming like finality. Tom waited in the truck, engine humming. As Eli buckled Noah in, the vet's hand found his across the console, an anchor in tumult. "Proud of you," Tom murmured, thumb tracing Eli's knuckles. The drive to the creek was silent salvation. Willows draping like veils, water murmuring over stones. They picnicked on Ruth's cookies, Noah splashing barefoot while Eli and Tom sat knee to knee, words weaving tentative bridges. "Lost my wife to cancer 5 years back," Tom confessed, voice rough. "Thought love was done. Then you roll in, all fire and fragility." Eli leaned in, forehead to Tom's, the kiss tentative as spring thaw, lips brushing, hearts sinking to the river's rhythm. Romantic, not rushed, a spark in drought. But nightfall brought shadows. Caleb's truck rumbled up to the motel at midnight, headlights cutting the dark like accusations. He pounded the door, reeking of whiskey. "You think you can waltz back, play house with some half-breed kid and a queer vet, and take my birthright?" Slurs slithered, each uglier than the last. Eli barred the door, Noah huddled behind, but Caleb's fist connected through the frame. A glancing blow to Eli's shoulder that reignited old bruises. "Get out," Eli growled. "Or I call the sheriff." Caleb sneered. "Do it. Tell em how your kind corrupts good folk." He peeled away, taillights fading into regret. Eli held Noah till dawn, crooning Marcus's lullaby, but sleep evaded. Betrayal's aftertaste was bile. Brother against brother, blood curdled by fear. Yet in Tom's texts, "You okay? Coffee at dawn." Hope flickered. The hearing loomed, climax barreling like a freight train. Next morning, Beatrice buzzed with gossip, farmers in overalls murmuring over coffee at the diner. Hargrove's office was a pressure cooker. Caleb arrived late, eyes bloodshot, Jenny absent. Harlan wheeled in last, oxygen hissing defiance. Ruth at his side like a sentinel. "Let's settle this," the old man barked. Caleb launched first. "Eli abandoned us. No right to land he didn't sweat for." Eli countered calm. "Exile ain't abandonment." And I sweated. In cities. For survival. For this boy who deserves roots deeper than hate. Hargrove laid out terms. Split the farm 60 to Caleb, 30 to Harlan's trust for Noah's future, 10 to Eli outright. Caleb exploded. "Over my dead body." Harlan's voice cut sharp. "Mine's half gone, boy. Sign it." Silence stretched, taut as barbed wire. Caleb's pen hovered, then slashed. Rage in ink. But as he shoved the papers back, a whisper escaped. "You always were the favorite, even when you broke us." Eli's heart ached. Not triumph, but sorrow for the boy Caleb had become, chained by inheritance's illusion. Handshakes were perfunctory, but Harlan pulled Eli close after, whisper rasping, "Proud, son. Go build." Tears mingled, unspoken absolution. Back at the farm for the signing ritual. Deeds under the big oak. Tension simmered. Noah chased Jenny's kids, Bridges tentative, while Ruth hugged Eli fierce. "Stay a while? Teach me city recipes." Tom arrived with a cooler of sodas, his presence a quiet claim. But as dusk fell, Caleb cornered Eli by the fire pit, voice low venom. "This ain't over. I know things about your precious Marcus. Things that'd rip that kid away." The threat landed like a gut punch. Eli's blood iced. What secrets? Marcus's past. A juvenile record expunged? Foster scars hidden? Caleb smirked, vanishing into the house. Panic clawed. "Call Hargrove? Flee?" Tom's arm around his waist steadied. "Whatever it is, we face it. Together." The kiss by firelight was deeper, laced with urgency. Romance forged in fire. That night, Eli searched Marcus's old journals, heart pounding. Entries of love, doubt, a sealed envelope from years back. "For if I can't say it, I'm sorry for the shadows I carried." No bombshell, just humanity. Relief flooded, but resolve steeled. Confront Caleb at dawn. The betrayal's core wasn't paper. It was fear's rot. Dawn painted the prairie in blush and gold. Dew jeweled on the fence posts like fragile promises. Eli stood by the corral, coffee steaming in a chipped mug Ruth had pressed into his hands, watching Noah milk a pretend cow from a hay bale under her watchful eye. The boy's laughter carried on the breeze, a melody that drowned the dread coiling in Eli's gut. Caleb's threat echoed, a specter refusing banishment. Things about Marcus. Eli had torn through memories till 3 a.m., finding only love's ledger. Debts paid in full. But doubt lingered, insidious as morning fog. Tom joined him, boots silent on the grass, a thermos of fresh brew in hand. "Slept like crap." His voice was gravel and concern, arms slipping around Eli's waist in easy familiarity. Eli leaned in, the solidity of Tom's frame a bulwark. "Caleb's plain dirty. Says he knows dirt on Marcus that could take Noah." Tom's brow furrowed, hand squeezing Eli's hip. "Bull, you're the best dad that kid could draw in his crayons. Whatever it is, it's smoke." Their eyes met, the air thickening with unspoken want. The slow burn of connection, not conquest. Eli's fingers traced Tom's jaw, pulling him into a kiss that tasted of coffee and courage, lingering till Noah's whoop broke the spell. "Uncle Tom, watch me fly." The boy launched from the hay, arms airplane wide. Breakfast was loaded normalcy. Pancakes stacked high, syrup sticky as secrets. Harlan dominated the table, fork spearing like a scepter, regaling Noah with tall tales of coyote hunts and meteor showers. Caleb slunk in late, hollow-eyed, avoiding Eli's gaze. Jenny chattered about preschool sign-ups, her toddler smearing jam like war paint. Ruth's eyes darted, mediator's burden heavy. As plates cleared, Eli cornered his brother in the mudroom, door ajar to the yard. "Spit it out, Caleb. What's this dirt you got?" Caleb's laugh was bark without mirth. breath sour. Remember that summer you left? I drove to Chicago, checked on you, thought blood meant something. Saw you with him, Marcus, outside some dive bar. Fightin'. Cops came. He had a record, Eli, drugs back when he was a teen. Foster kid gone bad. Social services eat that up. Your precious adoption? One appeal and poof, kid's back in the system. Eli's world narrowed to pinprick. The incident. A stupid brawl with Marcus's deadbeat uncle. Charges dropped. History buried. But in Caleb's hands, it twisted to weapon. You spied? After all these years. Rage boiled. But beneath, pity for the man who'd shadowed his own brother out of envy. Caleb shrugged, feigning nonchalance. Had to know if you were coming back to ruin us. Sign over your share quiet or I tip the lawyers. For the family's good. The mudroom spun, Eli's fist clenching the doorframe till knuckles blanched. Visions flashed. Noah's first steps into his arms. Marcus's last breath in the hospital. Love him fierce, Eli. No, he wouldn't crumble. Do it, he said, voice steel. Leak it. Watch me fight harder. But know this, you're not Savon family, you're torch in it. He shoved past, heart hammering, emerging into sunlight where Noah waved a pancake flag. The day fractured into fragments. A drive with Tom to the creek, Noah napping in the truck bed under a quilt, while they walked the banks, hands entwined. If it comes to custody, Tom murmured, I've got a guest room, and a lawyer friend in Lincoln, ex-military, tough as nails. Eli stopped, turning to face him, the river's rush mirroring his pulse. Why? You barely know me. Tom's smile was slow sunrise. Knew you the second you glared at that storm cloud like it owed you answers. You're home, Eli, here or wherever. I'm all in if you'll have me. The kiss ignited then, full and fervent, bodies pressing close, Tom's hands cradling Eli's face like fragile prairie glass. It was romance distilled. Hearts aligning amid wild grasses, whispers of futures untethered. I want that, Eli breathed, foreheads touching. Us, Noah. A life beyond grudges. Hope bloomed, tentative petals. But conflict crested at supper, the farmhouse kitchen a coliseum. Caleb, emboldened by bourbon, slammed the adoption file on the table mid-grace, pages splaying like innards. See? Your son's built on lies. Chaos erupted. Jenny gasped, covering the kid's eyes. Ruth cried out, Caleb, no! Harlan's oxygen alarm blared as he clutched his chest. Noah whimpered, Daddy! Eli surged forward, snatching the papers. But Caleb's words lashed. Confess, Eli. Tell him how your dead lover was a junkie. How social services'll yank that boy faster than you can say, fairy tale. Time slowed. Eli's voice rose, not in defense, but indictment. Marcus was no junkie, he was a survivor. Fought his demons so Noah could have angels for parents. He turned to Harlan, eyes fierce. You taught me truth or nothing, Dad. Here's truth. Caleb's blackmailing me to steal land that ain't his to hoard. Family? This? He swept an arm, encompassing the table's wreckage. This is what hate breeds. Harlan's we's cut the din enough. He gestured weakly, Ruth fetching his nitro. Caleb. Boy, you shame me more than any sin. The words felled Caleb like an axe. He staggered, face ashen, collapsing into a chair. Jenny's sobs filled the void, toddler's wailing chorus. Noah crawled into Eli's lap, tiny arms locking around his neck. I love you, Daddy. Don't let the mean man take our farm dreams. Eli rocked him, tears silent rivers. Tom, arrived midstorm with a pie pretext, stood sentinel by the door, his nod to Eli a vow. As Ruth cleared plates with trembling hands, Harlan beckoned Eli close. Call your lawyer. Full shares, for you the boy. Caleb learns or he loses all. Absolution, hard won. Night cloaked the farm in velvet, stars pricking the dome like Eli's doubts. He and Tom sat on the porch swing, Noah asleep between the creek a lullaby. It's Klimbin to a head, Eli murmured. Tomorrow, I file the counter, expose the blackmail. Tom's hand covered his. And if he doubles down? Eli gazed at the horizon, where lightning flickered distant threat. Then we weather it. Together. Betrayal's climax brewed overnight. Caleb, unmoored, drove to the barn at 2 a.m., Eli trailing after a frantic Ruth's call. Moonlight silvered the rafters as Caleb swung a bottle, shattering jars of preserves, Grandma's recipes, Lila's favorites. "You took everything," he roared, shards crunching underfoot. Eli dodged a wild swing, grappling his brother to the hay. "I took nothing. You gave it away. Jealousy your thief." They wrestled, not with hate but heartbreak. Fists glancing, more plea than punch. Caleb broke first, sobbing into Eli's shoulder. "Pa always said you were soft. But you lived free. I stayed, and it chained me." Eli held him, the barn a confessional. "Free ain't easy, brother. Lost Marcus to it. But Noah? He's my chain and my wings." Dawn crept in as they talked, walls crumbling. Caleb's fears of failing Jenny's dreams, the farm's debts hidden from all. "Help me fix it," Caleb whispered. "Partners, not pirates." Eli nodded, bruised but unbroken. Forgiveness wasn't erasure. It was rewrite. They clasped hands over the mess, blood mingled on knuckles. Whitaker bond reforged. Morning brought Harlan's collapse. Ambulance sirens wailing down the drive, family piling in. At the hospital in Lincoln, beeps and bleach assaulted, doctors murmuring palliative like eulogy preview. Harlan rallied briefly, gripping Eli's hand. "Tell the boy, Grandpa's sorry, and proud." His eyes fluttered shut, breath evening to peace. Ruth wept, Caleb stood stoic, Jenny herded kids to the chapel. Noah, perched on Eli's knee in the waiting room, drew a picture. Stick-figure family under a rainbow barn, all holding hands. "For when Grandpa wakes," he said solemnly. Tom arrived with vending machine snacks, his presence the steady hum amid chaos. In a quiet alcove, he pulled Eli close. "You're their rock. Mine too." The embrace deepened, kisses traded soft as secrets. Romance's quiet rebellion against grief's tide. Harlan didn't wake that day, slipping into coma by eve. The family vigil stretched, bonds fraying then mending. Caleb confessing the debts to Ruth, Jenny offering tearful amends to Noah. Eli mediated, voiced the bridge. Betrayal's poison purged, leaving space for healing's slow seep. The hospital room hummed with machines' dirge, fluorescent lights casting long shadows over Harlan's form. Tubes snaking like regrets, monitors beeping a faltering rhythm. Eli sat vigil, Noah dozing against his side, the boy's thumb in mouth a remnant of babyhood. Caleb paced the hall, phone glued to ear haggling with bankers. Ruth knitted furiously in the corner, needles clicking prayers. Jenny ferried coffee, her apologies woven into every pass. Noah's welcome anytime. Sleepovers, pony rides. The gestures mended cracks, tentative as first frost. Tom anchored from the doorway, his vet's calm a bomb. When Eli's eyes met his, the world narrowed to that gaze. Steady seeing. "Need air," Tom mouthed. Eli nodded, slipping out with a whisper to Ruth. The hospital garden was a concrete oasis. Benches under linden trees, a fountain gurgling solace. They walked arm in brushed arm, Noah's hand swinging between. "Look, fishies!" the boy exclaimed, pressing to the pond's edge. Tom knelt, pointing out coy flashes of orange defiance. Eli watched, chest loosening. This simple joys amid storm was the romance he'd craved. Not grand gestures, but woven threads of everyday grace. Back inside, Harlan stirred at dusk, eyes cracking open to slits. "Eli," the rasp pulled all close. Ruth dropped her yarn, Caleb halted mid-stride. "The farm, yours and Caleb's, equal. Teach the boy, tractors." A ghost smile. "Love, y'all." The words dissolved into wheeze, but they landed human, flawed, final. Harlan exhaled long, monitors flatlining to wail. Nurses swarmed, but the family held circle. Hugs tangled, sobs shared. Caleb clung to Eli. "I'm sorry, brother, for everything." Eli gripped back. We're good. Now live it. Funeral was Willow Creek quintessential. Methodist church packed with neighbors in starched collars. Potluck unfolding in the fellowship hall. Harlan's casket, oak-polished, bore a spray of corn husks and wild sunflowers. Eli's touch. Eulogy fell to Eli, voice steady over pulpit. Pa wasn't perfect, hard as Nebraska winter, but beneath, soil rich for growin'. He taught us fight. Now we choose love's harvest. Applause rippled, whispers of that Whitaker boys come far. Noah, in tiny clip-on tie, placed a drawing on the grave. Grandpa with wings, flying over rainbow fields. Grief's wake was work. Probate swift, farm split fair. Caleb's expertise. Eli's designs for ecotourism cabins by the creek. Debts restructured, future seeded. Eli stayed through harvest, Noah thriving in dirt and discovery. Riding with Caleb on combines, baking with Ruth, sketching barns with Tom. Romance deepened in stolen sunsets. Tom's truck bed picnics, hands exploring with patient fire. Whispers of move here. Us three. Eli's heart swelled. Marcus's memory a gentle ghost blessing. Build, love. For the boy. But conflict's echo lingered. A month post-burial, social services letter arrived. Anonymous tip. Caleb's threat realized. Investigator Ms. Delgado, stern in pantsuit, interviewed at the kitchen table. Home visits, background checks. Mr. Hale's record, expunged, but noted. Adoption stability? Eli's pulse thundered, but he laid bare. Marcus's redemption. Their home's haven, Noah's bonds. Check references. Tom, Ruth, the whole damn town. Noah piped up. Daddy and Uncle Tom make the best forts. Marcus drawed me stars. Ms. Delgado's facade cracked, pen pausing. Tom's testimony sealed. Eli's the father I wish I'd had. Steady, fierce love. Ruth added tears. Blood or not, he's ours. Even Caleb, redeemed, vouched. Family's choice, ma'am. We choose them. The report cleared in weeks. Tip dismissed as malice. Eli burned the letter in the barrel. Ashes to wind, betrayal's pyre. Winter blanketed Willow Creek in white, Christmas lights twinkling defiance. Eli's 10 acres bloomed greenhouse dreams. Community plots for queer youth from Lincoln, sunflowers nodding welcome. Noah's school play cast him as shepherd fitting, guiding stars home. New Year's Eve, under the big oak strung with lanterns, Eli proposed partnership to Tom. Not rings, but ringside life entwined. Tom's yes was kiss-sealed, Noah cheering with sparklers. Yet humanism's core pulsed in quiet. Ruth's confession over Coco. I prayed you away once. Now, pray you stay. Eli forgave, hugging fierce. Caleb, Jenny, kids. Thanksgiving tables bridged by laughter. Old slurs silenced. The farm thrived, not in isolation, but community. Pride flags subtle on porches, stories shared at the diner. Eli stood one spring dawn by the creek. Noah fishing with Tom, lines dancing water. 12 years exile forged this. Not revenge, but reclamation. He'd returned cast out, but as father, forced sight. Not through force, but presence. Love's worth undeniable as prairie sky. In the hush, Marcus's voice whispered on wind. You did it, Eli. Home. And for the first time, Eli believed.